Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck. Well, it's that time of the year. The days are getting longer. I'm finding sweat in places I didn't know I had. It must be summer, and that basically means it's time for Hasbro to roll out a new toy line. And we got a little taste of it a few weeks ago with some Legends figures, but this is the official rollout of the Titans Return line. And here we have Leader Class Blaster. Now, let me get this all out of the way. For years, whenever we've gotten a Blaster figure, at best, it's been a repaint of a Soundwave figure with a new head and maybe some new parts. If you think of the Fall of Cybertron version. Most of the time, it's a straight repaint of a pre-existing Soundwave figure, and that's that. Finally, we get a Blaster figure that's an entirely new mold that actually transforms into its vintage style boombox portable radio, and it's a Headmaster. I like Headmasters. I've never had a problem with Headmasters. They are some of my favorite Transformers of all time. And I don't technically really have a problem with Blaster as a Headmaster. If this wasn't the first time we've gotten an update to the Boombox Blaster before this. But whatever. This is the figure. And as you can see, it really does look like Blaster. I'm really impressed that they went ahead and gave us this look for this figure. Even though on the box, there is absolutely no mention of the boombox whatsoever. The weapon is a nice update to its classic rifle. As you can see right here. It's actually in a very nice gunmetal gray. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Now, for articulation, this is a little interesting, if you will. If you notice I'm fiddling here, there's a reason. Basically, the arms are universal joints, which, frankly, I think anything a deluxe or larger, that's what they should have. Ratchets in the elbows, swivel, no rotation in the wrist. Head can swivel, but we'll get into the head more in a minute. The issue with the figure that I have is right here in the hips. If you can see, and let me straighten the leg out as it would be with all the joints straight, you can see this black section right here, the thigh. This is molded in a very odd way. It bulges out slightly, and this is on both sides, which leads to you actually having to, straighten the leg and then bend the knee slightly so you can get the figure standing up. The next step is, because of the way the hips are, you really can't get the legs together straight. I mean, this is how they are. Really, to get the best way to stand the figure is about 2 clicks out on either side, and then adjusting the foot ratchets. And there is an ankle pivot, which is nice, and that basically gives you a somewhat standing Blaster. And not the best, but you have to really play with it, and for some people that might be a problem. Before we get into the transformation, I wanted to come into the head, because there's something I've been noticing people have been doing with Leader Optimus Prime that I just want to clarify, and that's how you work with the helmets. I wasn't sure until I got the figure in hand, but there is a double joint. So when removing the head, what you want to do is first flip up the visor, just like so, and then go ahead and flip back the back piece. A lot of people have not been opening up the visor and the front and just bringing it over like that. My concern, and you can say I'm crazy, is that you'll have plastic rubbing on plastic, and you could chip the paint. The head removes quite easily. It just pulls right out. That's a lot easier than, if you remember Voyager class Brainstorm from a few years ago. So, there you go. And, yeah, that's really about it. So we'll just pause, and we're going to take a closer look at the head and some of the gimmicks that are related to the head. Okay, so here we are, and we're just going to take a quick look at the head here. And this is called Twincast, and as you can see, it's a smaller version of Blaster. Also, Twincast was the name in Japan of Blaster's repaint remold that gave him a double tape capacity chest. I don't know if that means that we won't see that repaint of Blaster, but who knows. Now, the head mode transformation is very easy. Just flip the arms down and then flip the legs over. Now, you should note that there are little slots, holes right here that correspond to some tabs on the helmet that will actually peg into the back of the leg. So this is very secure. And this is actually Blaster's head underneath the helmet. Just gonna wait for that to focus a little here. For some reason, there you go. And yeah, kind of interesting. I really don't know what the head is based on. Articulation is basically what you're seeing. There's ball joints in the arms, a ball-jointed neck. Now, most of these little Titan Masters, any neck pivot comes from their neck. And there's also the ability to sit, which comes in handy when you look at this. This is the little Titan Master drone thingamabob that comes with Blaster. And it's meant for the Headmaster to roll around in city mode, or any Titan Master. There are also some pegs right here that correspond to holes on the bottom of the Titan Master's feet that allow him to peg on. And you can actually peg two Titan Masters on and then have him sitting right here. He does friction in. There's like little grooves and stuff here, I think, that are designed for the head. There are also two posts. You can plug the Blaster in, just like that, and there's no wheels, so it'll just hover around. But this isn't all that Twincast can do. Remember Rewind? Well, Rewind has these posts right here, which I just mentioned, and mentioned in the review of Rewind, which allows Twincast and other Titan Masters to basically peg in and ride on top. We'll see more of Rewind in a little bit when we get into the boombox mode of Blaster, which we're going to do right now. Okay, I'm going to break down the transformation into some steps here. They say about 19 steps, but trust me, you know from my Robots in Disguise review, how they count the steps is very odd. Well, first thing you want to do is, what I've already done, is go ahead and remove the head. You can close up the helmet, come in behind here, and you're going to open that little panel, rotate the head down, out of the way, and then close that panel back up. Next, what you want to do is rotate the arms out to the side, and then, they don't tell you this in the instructions, flip in the fists. Finally, what you want to do is flip up the little shin guards, the waist guards there, and then you move down to the legs. Okay, next you come down to the legs. You want to rotate the figure around and then open up these panels. They peg in on this little post here to the bottom notch, and then these sections just tab in behind it. So go ahead, open this up all the way, just like so. And you can see actually a little bit that these feet have a tendency to just, once you put a little weight on them, to start moving around. So once you have those legs open, just flip up the handle. Sorry, it's right there. That's not a big deal. And then what you're going to do is kind of cool. You're going to flip up the toes here on the figure. And then, this is a little interesting. The legs here are on a double hinge. So what you want to do is unhook them, and you're going to have to spread the legs out to give yourself some room. The red bar here tabs into a slot right where my finger is, while the black section has a little notch that slots into that gray hinge. And you're just going to bring this all the way down, and there's a notch where the red tab is going to tab into. And now keep in mind, the plastic does flex a little because you have to get over this section, which we'll get into in city mode. You want to do the same thing on this side. Basically, it does peg in a little tightly, and just swivel it down. There's the slot, there's that red tab, and it just pegs in. So you can just like that, and that brings the legs up. Now, finally, what you want to do while you're down here is you're going to bring in you're going to flip up the feet. Actually, I'm sorry, you're not going to flip up the feet just yet. What you want to do is they are on a double hinge. So what you want to just bring that hinge in just like that, and the feet will just come in behind it. It's a little tight, so you want to get in there and make sure you fold it up on that double hinge. So the red bar that's in there was down, now it's up, and that lines up very nicely with that whole black groove section. Rotating the figure around, and make sure you keep the knees straight. The next step is you're going to rotate the legs inward like that, so the speakers are facing each other. Just like so. And then the final step, well, one of the final steps is you're going to rotate them out at the waist upward. Make sure everything is straight. And now I'm going to show you this from behind so you can see what I'm doing. There is a tab on the inside of the forearm that's going to tab into a slot on the inside of the forearm that's going to tab into a tab on the back of the legs. Rotate the boombox mode back around, and we're going to get to one of the final steps, which is when you're going to flip up these panels right here. There's a tab right there that's going to go into a slot right there, and then there's a tab here that's going to go into a corresponding slot. And you might think you're going to have to fudge with it a little because sometimes it gets stuck on the hook on this, where is it, that black post right there. I only get it on one leg for some reason. And then finally, flip down these hip skirts. And if you missed it before, this was down. You just rotate it up. And by the way, this comes up in when it's in the packaging. And just turn it around. Make sure you got everything pegged in. Just like that. Nice and tight. And hey, you've got yourself a nice 1980s style boombox. Okay, now with boombox mode, there are a couple fun things you can do. Number one, right here is a release lever. Pops open the tape tray, and you can actually slide in the data tablets, which, by the way, I forgot to mention. This one that came with Blaster, you can see it has the molded in play pause button, but no paint detail whatsoever. So this is supposed to be some sort of tablet with cannons. Slides right in, just like that, and closes up. Now I also want to mention, I think, I don't know if I said it in a video, but for whatever reason, I thought Blaster was going to be hollow in the back. Clearly it's not. But also, I'm a little disappointed, it can only fit one data tablet at a time. Now, of course, here's rewind. Now, I don't know exactly, going this way, and closes up quite nicely. And can you go in this way? Yeah. And it closes up not quite nicely. So if you have buzzsaw, rewind, stripes, that works. And another fun little feature, if you notice right back here, there's a little hole. Well, believe it or not, Blaster has weapon storage. You can even use this in robot mode if you want. And that's to store his gun, which I think is really nice and a good point. Finally, right next to the cavity where the head is, and I'm going to have to fold back the handle to get to it, is another little tab, or a post I should say, and you can peg twin casting. Maybe you want to see if I can get him in there. There you go. It's a little, he doesn't, unfortunately can't stay while the handle's up, but that's really more for base mode, which of course we're going to get into right now. Okay, we're starting off in boombox mode, because that's really how the instructions do it, and it's fairly easier. First step, open the chest, remove anything you have sitting in there. Next, what you want to do is there's these two clear pieces. You want to flip that one up, then flip up what was the little window in tape mode, and then flip down that first piece. Basically what you've just done is create a little seat for a Titan Master. Not the best seat, but what are you gonna do? Next, what you want to do is go ahead, flip down these front panels just like so, and then flip out these ramps. I have to say I'm already a little bit more impressed than Leader Optimus Prime, just because these are ramps that are specific, that aren't used in boombox mode or robot mode. They're specifically here for the base mode, and they really do look nice. And you have this little danger detailing, so you have that right there. Flip those ramps out. Next, what you want to do is detach the arms, rotate them around until you can, the armpit joint is facing up, and then rotate the arm facing up with these little black sections facing forward. By the way, before I forget, the ramps are on double joints, so you want to make sure you fold on both joints to get them out and flat. And these are the ramps that will connect to Fortress Maximus. Now, with the arms up like that, you have a little play. The instructions show about 2 clicks of the elbow joint you fold them back. And then what you do is you come in and fold out these little stationary guns. Here's the problem with my figure. This gun right here, once I get it past a certain point, droops down. So if you're going to keep, if this is happening to you, if it's a common thing, and you want to keep the arm like that, you're going to have to keep that gun angled up slightly. Which, isn't that bad. Next, what you want to do is come in, rotate the feet around, just like so. And then, where the heels were, go ahead and flip up these little radar dish communication things from the underside, which I think is really, really cool. Now, you come in to the gimmicks. First, if you haven't already, reach behind, pull out Blaster's gun, which maybe I should have done before I started base mode. And inside the chest here is a little hole, excuse me. Yeah, I keep slipping that up. And you just want to go ahead and plug the gun in right there, just like so. Take the rotating hoverboard thingamabob, and then right in this back section are some grooves. This is going to peg into the handle right there. Let me adjust the camera slightly so you can get a little more of the view. And there you have the finished base mode. Now, if you so desire, you can take Twin Cast or any of the other Titan Masters and sit them in this little cockpit area, and they can be manning that gun. You, of course, can, and what I will probably do is just put them up here. Also, on the inside of the legs, there are more of those little posts that you can go ahead and peg the figures into. All in all, Blaster's base mode is kind of cool. It does help me get over the fact that Blaster was never a headmaster and he never had a base. I will say this is more of a base mode than what I think Leader Optimus Prime's base mode is. I will be very honest with you, because frankly, I've been seeing a rise of videos where people are making them and they tend to have an agenda. And I always want to be honest. I am very torn on the Titans Return line. I am ecstatic that we are getting updates to the classic Headmasters. I think the Titan Master packs, which are the heads with little vehicles, is an ingenious idea and really make these base modes a lot more functional and a lot more fun. And I think for children, that's where the play value's going to be. With that said, I don't like the fact that the whole Titan Master line, gimmick I should say, encompasses the whole line, and that they're all headmasters. As I said in the beginning, this is our first real update to G1 Blaster in a traditional boombox design. And I think it's a fantastic figure, but if you lose the head, there's nothing there. We have Scourge. Now, we got a great Scourge in the Generations line a few years ago. But now we have one that looks like that G1 space boat. And I'm really excited for it. But it too is a headmaster. And when it was a target master. I'm somewhere in the middle. I think I'm going to need more time. I have the first wave of Titan Master figures coming. I was hoping they'd be here by now, but people don't know how to go to the post office. And, you know, I'll be looking forward to present those to you and give you a look at them and see what you think. Some countries have already gotten the deluxe figures. Unfortunately, America's not getting them to July, so I gotta wait because import costs just aren't worth it. I got Blaster from Big Bad Toy Store. Unfortunately, I think it's sold out right now, except in a case set with Power Master Optimus Prime. Ugh. It makes me hurt when I say it like that. The price is a little high, around $45, for a leader figure that's really the new scale leader figures, which are smaller than our original leader figures. Robot mode is okay once you get used to having to work with the legs a little to get it to stand and pose. Boombox mode is fun as heck. I had my sister cracking up because I was dancing around with it on my shoulder like I'm listening to music. The base mode is fun, especially if you have the Legends figure here like Rewind or even Stripes, that you can just have it like sit on the base, you know, roll up the ramp or what have you. I think it's going to be even better when you have a Fortress Maximus to plug it into and you get a wider play pattern. And definitely with a couple of the smaller Titan Master figures to fill up the various spots. This is going to be some gravy right here. So, my final opinion is I can't really give you one right now. If this turns into like a series of repaints like Combiner Wars, then this line is going to tank. With all that said, thank you for watching. This is your old pal Chuck, and for Blaster and Twincast, a cameo by Rewind, we will see you next time.